Look at the state of my house 6 months ago. Drawers that wouldn't close because they were overflowing with clothes. Cabinets where opening the door was like playing Russian roulette. A pile of "I'll use this someday" that only grew higher. And that suffocating feeling of slowly drowning between the walls of my own home. I spent hours cleaning, but the house never felt clean. I bought more organizers, but just stacked more stuff. I tried different organizing methods, but in 2 weeks, everything returned to chaos. That's when I realized it wasn't a problem of space or method. It was a problem of quantity. Today, my home is not just organized, it's peaceful. I no longer spend my whole Sunday cleaning. I don't lose my keys or important documents. I don't waste money buying things I already own. And the best part? I take a deep breath when I open my front door instead of sighing wearily at the mess. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share the 7 organizing principles I learned from studying Japanese homes without needing to live in a stark minimalist house or throw away everything you love. These are real practices for real people with real lives. And if it worked for me, someone who was buried in clutter, it will work for you too. The first secret I discovered was that organization starts even before you tidy up anything. It starts with a pause to observe what's really happening in our spaces. When I walk into a house for the first time, I can immediately sense, is this a space of accumulation or a space of flow? Are the objects serving the people, or are the people serving the objects? For years, my home was the latter. I was serving my belongings, cleaning things I didn't use, storing items for someday, organizing and reorganizing without ever questioning, why do I have this in the first place? The first transformation happens when we stop seeing organization as a system for storing more stuff and start to understand it as a system for bringing more life into our homes. Think about this. Every object in your home consumes 3 precious resources: physical space, maintenance time, and mental energy. When I look at an object, I ask myself 3 simple questions. Do I use this regularly? Does it bring me genuine joy? Does it make my daily life easier? If the answer is no to all 3 questions, then why is it taking up space in my life? The second principle that transformed my home was understanding the power of empty spaces. I grew up believing that every surface, every shelf, every corner needed to have something on it. Horror of emptiness, as they say. But the calmest homes I've ever seen have something in common. They respect emptiness. They leave surfaces clear. They allow the eyes to rest. They create areas where nothing happens, and that is intentional. I began to practice this in small doses. First, I completely cleared off the kitchen counter, then a coffee table, later an entire wall. The result was surprising. Those empty spaces didn't feel abandoned. They felt breathable. When I returned home tired from work, my eyes naturally gravitated toward those clean spaces, and something inside me relaxed. I realized that in my morning routine, I naturally prepared coffee on that empty counter, instead of fighting for space like I used to. The empty spaces were not an absence of something. They were a presence of possibility. The third secret came when I understood that true organization isn't about pretty boxes or perfect labels. It's about natural flows. Just as water finds its way, our daily habits create patterns. I battled against those patterns for years, trying to create perfect systems that looked nice, but that I could never maintain. The transformation came when I began to observe. Where do I naturally leave my keys when I get home? Where do my shoes go? Where do I usually read? Where do I put the mail? Instead of fighting against these patterns, I created systems around them. A small tray exactly where I always dropped my keys. A bench with space for shoes where I naturally took them off. A basket for mail in the exact spot where I always piled up the letters. I realized that sustainable organization works with your nature, not against it. The most elegant systems are the ones you barely notice are there because they seamlessly fit into your everyday life. The fourth principle was revolutionary for me. The entrance of the house dictates everything that happens inside it. Think of the entrance like a membrane, filtering what deserves to enter the sanctuary that is your home. For years, I let that membrane be completely permeable. Shopping bags, mail, flyers, unwanted gifts, borrowed items, everything sailed right through without any filter. I transformed my entrance into a pivotal point. I created a small daily ritual. When I get home, each item goes through a conscious decision. Mail is opened immediately, with bills separated for payment and the rest discarded. Purchases are unpacked, tags removed, and packaging disposed of. Nothing enters a state of limbo. Nothing is left waiting to be decided later, because that later rarely arrives. This simple habit reduced 80% of the clutter that used to pile up in my home. Things now come in with purpose, or they don't come in at all. The fifth secret I learned was about the power of small, consistent routines, rather than big cleaning marathons. I used to let the mess build up for weeks, until I spent an entire Saturday in a cleaning frenzy. It was exhausting and, honestly, a bit traumatic. I remember feeling overwhelmed looking at mountains of clothes, dishes, and dust. I learned that 5 minutes a day are worth more than 5 hours a month. I developed small rituals. Before bed, I literally take 3 minutes to return things to their places. I don't clean, I simply return each object to its designated home. In the morning, while I wait for the water to heat for tea, I clean one surface, a counter, a table, a shelf. That's it. These micro-routines, which seem insignificant on their own, have created a revolution over time. My house never reaches a point of total chaos because I never let the clutter accumulate beyond a day. The sixth principle that transformed my relationship with objects was understanding the difference between value and price. I grew up in a family that saved everything because it cost money. The result, homes full of preserved things but never enjoyed. I began to ask myself, what is the true cost of keeping something I don't use? The space it occupies, the guilt I feel for not using it, the energy I spend cleaning and organizing, all of this has an invisible price. I learned to see letting go not as waste, but as liberation. When I donated those clothes I hadn't worn in years, I wasn't throwing money away. I was reclaiming my space and peace of mind. I started treating objects as visitors, not prisoners. Some stay for a lifetime, others are here for only a season, and that's okay. The purpose of an object is to serve, and when it stops serving, it's time to move on. And finally, the seventh and deepest principle. True organization is not about objects, it's about intention. Every space in my home now has a clear purpose. My living room is not just a place with a couch and a TV. It's where I seek connection and relaxation. My bedroom is not a storage space with a bed. It's a sanctuary for rest. This clarity of intention has become my most powerful filter. When I'm unsure about keeping something, I ask, does this item serve the intention of this space? If an item doesn't contribute to the purpose of the environment, no matter how beautiful or expensive it is misaligned. I've realized that cluttered environments create cluttered minds. When my home office was filled with unrelated items, my focus suffered. By clearing the space and aligning it with its intention, my productivity naturally flourished. This leads me to an important observation. Organization is not the end goal. It's merely a means to create the kind of life we want to lead. My organized home is not a sterile showroom. It's a vibrant space that facilitates the experiences I value. When my kitchen is orderly, I cook more and order takeout less. When my closet contains only clothes I love, I dress with more confidence and speed. When my reading area is inviting, I read more books. These practical transformations demonstrate the true magic of organization. It removes the barriers between us and the life we want to live. Now let's talk about how you can start this transformation in your own home without feeling overwhelmed. Many people struggle with organization because they try to do it all at once. This approach is like trying to run a marathon without ever having run before, a recipe for giving up. Instead, start with a single space, ideally one that you use every day, and that, when organized, will provide immediate benefits to your routine. For many, this is the entryway, the kitchen counter, or the workspace. Take everything out of that space, clean it thoroughly, then be ruthlessly selective about what goes back in. Ask each item, does this need to be here? Does it deserve the valuable space it occupies? Does it make my daily life easier? Try living with this single organized space for a week. Pay attention to how you feel using it. Notice if you can naturally keep it organized. This small success will create momentum for the next space. Remember, sustainable organization is a slow process of building new habits, not an instant lifestyle transformation. A common question I receive is, what about the other people I live with? How do I organize when I live with family or roommates? My answer is simple. Start with your own spaces and belongings. Don't try to force others to change. When the people around you see the calm and functionality of your organized spaces, natural curiosity will arise. For shared areas, suggest short-term experiments. Let's try to keep this countertop clean for a week and see how we feel. These small temporary tests are less threatening than big declarations of permanent change. And for those with children, a valuable piece of advice: kids thrive with simple, consistent systems. Low shelves with a few accessible toys work better than overflowing bins. Toy rotation, keeping some stored and swapping periodically, keeps interest alive with less visible clutter. Another common obstacle is emotional attachment to items. That gift from your aunt that you never use, the clothes from when you were slimmer, the unfinished projects that represent abandoned aspirations. For these emotionally charged items, I've created a gentle process. First, I acknowledge the feeling associated with the item. This dress reminds me of a time when I felt confident. Then I ask, is this item the only way to honor that memory or feeling? Is there a more practical way to bring that same quality into my current life? Many times, I notice that I can honor the essence of what an object represents without needing to keep the object itself. I can seek confidence in new clothes that I actually use, rather than storing the old ones as relics. For truly sentimental items that I rarely use, I created a memory box, a designated and limited space for these treasures. When the box fills up, I do a careful curation. This physical limitation helps me prioritize what really matters. One of the biggest challenges on the journey of organization is resisting constant accumulation. We live in a society that bombards us with messages to buy, upgrade, and collect. I've developed some mental filters to combat this constant flow. Before bringing something new home, I pause and ask, where exactly will this live? Do I have designated physical space for this? What will I have to remove to accommodate this new item? This simple pause creates awareness. Many impulse purchases don't survive these questions. I've also adopted the one-in, one-out rule. For every new piece of clothing I buy, an old one needs to go. This keeps the volume constant and forces me to consider whether the new item truly adds more value than what I already own. Over time, these filters have become automatic. I feel less desire to accumulate because I clearly understand the true cost of each new acquisition, not just the price in money, but the cost in space, attention, and energy. A surprising transformation I've noticed is how the organization of physical space has affected my mental clarity. When my home was cluttered, my mind was too. Simple decisions felt difficult. Creative projects never gained momentum. As each space became clearer and more intentional, I realized I could think more clearly. I could maintain focus for longer periods. I slept better. Ideas flowed more freely. This connection between physical and mental space is profound. Our home is an external extension of our internal mind, and the disorder in one inevitably affects the other. Today, when I feel mentally confused or stagnant, the solution is often simple. I organize a physical space. The act of restoring external order creates space for internal clarity. As I wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. The true beauty of organization is not in creating spaces that look like they came out of a magazine. It's about creating spaces that work perfectly for your real life. My home is not perfect. I still have moments of clutter when life gets hectic. I still have areas that I am refining and rethinking, and that's okay. Organization is not perfection, it's intention. The goal is not to create a showroom, but a home that is your ally, not your burden. A space that makes your days easier, amplifies your joys, and softens your challenges. Start small. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate every organized drawer, every cleared surface, every conscious decision about what deserves to occupy the precious space in your life. Remember that each item you remove is not a loss. It's a gain in space, time, and peace of mind. Each system you create is not a restriction. It's a structure that frees your energy for what truly matters. And in the end, the most beautiful home is not the one filled with the most beautiful things. It's the one where you can breathe deeply, move easily, and live fully. If this video touched something in you, share in the comments which principle resonated most with your current situation. And if you're starting your own organization journey, let me know what your first small step will be. Remember, your space shapes your experience. Create it with intention. Share this blessed video so it can touch and help others like you and me. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of our faith community. If you would like to support our channel a little more, consider becoming a member. I've included 2 more videos here for you to continue your exploration. Thank you, and may God bless everyone. See you later. Title: How to organize your home with Japanese minimalism, real method phrase for thumbnail. Organize without throwing everything away, description. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos about organization, minimalism, inner peace, letting go, simplifying life, mental clarity, minimalist decor, Japanese routines, less is more, conscious living, energetic cleaning, tranquil spaces, stress reduction, and harmony at home. Let us know in the comments, which of these principles do you need to apply the most in your home? 1. Japanese minimalism, home organization, conscious letting go, inner peace, simple living, organized home, emotional minimalism, mindful decluttering, minimalist life, Japanese routines, spaces that breathe, mental clarity, spiritual freedom, less is more, Japanese organization.